Hello and welcome back to A Quaint Life. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I pack and preserve my summer tomatoes in olive oil. To begin, I have everything laid out here. I have my cutting board, I have a paring knife, a baking dish, some sea salt, and I have some basil. You do not have to put herbs in your tomatoes if you don't want them flavored, so that's optional on that portion. And I also have olive oil, which is not in the screen. I'm going to begin by using washed and dried tomatoes. I'm going to start coring them and placing them in this baking dish. People have been preserving food in olive oil and packing it in olive oil for years. And if you have the fridge space, it's definitely the preferred method because, as you will see in this video, it's much simpler than hot water canning. Now that our tomatoes are cored, cleaned, and placed in the baking dish, I'm going to add a little bit of sea salt to them and some of this basil. Again, that's optional. Whether or not you want to add herbs, you can add things like rosemary or thyme to these if you'd like to add a little bit more flavor, but again, optional. So once I have that in, I'm going to drizzle with a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to pop these into an oven at 300 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. We're not going for a fully cooked tomato, we're just trying to get the skins to come off easier, and that's basically what you want when you pull them from the oven. You want the skins to look like they're a little bit rippled and easy to be removed. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm removing the skins and I'm going to add them to my mason jar that I have ready to go, and we're going to smash these into the jar. Okay, so not a loose pack, we want to kind of pack them in there, so there can be a lot of tomatoes placed in one jar, so just keep that in mind. You probably don't need as many mason jars as you might think you would, so this many tomatoes will probably fit in this one mason jar. Now that our tomatoes are in our jar, I'm going to start pouring oil in. Now what we're going to do is look for air pockets, which I'm going to do by placing a knife along the sides of the jar, and then that way I could add gradually more oil as needed. We want to make sure there's no oxygen in our jar, so it's important to run that knife a few times along the sides to make sure that we get any air pockets that might be inside the tomatoes. Add the extra olive oil into the jar to top it off and make sure that your tomatoes are under that oil. Each time you use your tomatoes and scooping them out, you'll want to wipe the rim and replace the oil over the top to ensure that the tomatoes are always underneath the oil in the fridge, and as long as you do that, these can keep in the fridge for several weeks on end. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.